Welcome to Meet the Candidate 2022, and we're here recording at Dry Fly Distillery with our candidates. My guest for this section is Mary Kuney, candidate for Spokane County Commissioner, District 4. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So this is just the get acquainted with Mary conversation, and starting with, tell me about where you grew up.
So I grew up between here and Iowa. So kind of one of those came with my parents and our family when I was in elementary school. So I went to 4 years of elementary school out in Central Valley School District. Then we moved back to Des Moines, Iowa for 4 years and came back when I was a junior in high school and finished high school here at Central Valley High School and then went to Gonzaga University.
So when you came back, did you find some kids that you'd gone to school with in elementary?
I did. Back in Iowa, I was going to the Catholic high school, so my parents would have preferred for me to go to Gonzaga Prep, but I was like, I really want to go where I know some kids, and so I had friends that I still kept in contact with that were at Central Valley.
I'm sure that was very helpful for a kid moving back and forth. So what was your first job in high school? Did you work in high school?
I did. So the KOA campground off Barker Road and the river, that was my very first job. So I was the cashier and would register campers and then also taught dance at the same time.
Not at the campground? Not
at the campground.
Would have been a really fun campground.
It could have been.
So after high school, after Central Valley, did you pursue some additional training or on-the-job, life experience training?
So for me at that point then, I started at Gonzaga University. And so with starting at Gonzaga, that was when Costco first opened up in Spokane. And so then I actually worked at Costco through college. So that was my job, was one of those people that initially transferred all the goods from one cart to another. Mm-hmm. We called them callers because you'd call out the number, and then as a cashier.
Okay. What did you study?
Accounting.
Accounting. Okay. You probably just said that, and I was just interrupted by telling my phone to go away. Forgot to turn that off. So another thing that I like to ask folks about is just travel experience. And as a county commissioner, are there some places that you've traveled or things you've seen that help inform options that you might bring back to your own community?
Yeah, so one of the things, not as commissioner, but in my kind of life experience, I took time off. I was a former state auditor for the Washington State Auditor's Office and took some time off with my kids, but in the meantime started a small business. So I started a tea business, of which I traveled to China and sourced our green tea from China at that time. A friend of mine, her husband was with Agilent Technologies at the time, and so I'd lived over there and came back, and she's like, this would be a really fun thing to do. So we decided to start a tea business, and I think those travels to China were huge. I went in 2005 and 2007. So it really gave you a perspective, just as they were starting to open up a little bit of their economy, but yet still very closed. So I mean, it just gave you a very interesting perspective on business and on how the government works. They literally, we would drive around Beijing, and they'd be like, you'd see a big red X on a building, and they're like, they're going to tear that building down. And I'm like, well, where are the people going to live? And she's like, they just have to leave. So a very interesting environment there, as well as when we talk about environmental issues. We were out in one of the tea regions out in the rural area, and you would see these little black round circles alongside the road. And I'm like, what are those? And they're like, they're baking coal bricks. They're letting them get hot in the sun because they'll use that in the winter in their stove to keep warm. So you think that it doesn't happen, but it still happens.
Okay. So what inspired you to run for public office?
I think my years as state auditor, I audited cities, counties, and school districts, and so had the opportunity to see a lot of really good elected officials and the good things that they were doing for their communities, and saw some that I thought were maybe a little more egocentric. And so I thought at some point, if the opportunity presents itself, that I would love to take a look at running for office, and if I got elected, then I'd be able to serve my community.
Okay. And how is family life right now?
So my husband Max and I have been married for almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years in November. So excited about that. And we have 2 children. We have a daughter who's 27, who's a structural engineer over in Seattle. And our son is 22, and he's done at WSU. So we're kind of empty nesters, but it was kind of like when I became county commissioner was when, our youngest one went off to college. So like my husband says, we don't really know what it's like to be empty nesters because we're so busy.
Yeah. Yeah, you've filled the empty nest with a lot of other obligations. Too.
Yes.
Well, speaking of those obligations, you're running for that position again, and this is that wrap-up opportunity that you have for the pitch directly to voters. Why should they vote for Mary Kuney for Spokane County Commissioner for District 4?
So I think as a CPA and a former state auditor, I'm really here to watch the finances, protect your tax dollars, and really to bring that, I think, common sense, back to government. I have seen as a female, there's just certain perspectives that I feel that females bring to the role. And I have 2 great guys that are commissioners right now too. And so I think we really have a great balance. So I'm excited to be there.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in, Mary. And that's Mary Kuney for Spokane County Commissioner District 4.
Thank you.
From Chud Sr. to Dick Wendell, to Kristen and myself.
And now to our kids.
Our goal is to help people drive for generations.
From roll-up windows to power everything. From stick to automatic. From gas to electric.
No one can totally predict what technology is coming our way.
But I can guarantee we will be here before and after the sale, giving you the confidence for generations to come.
That's the Wendell way. Drive for generations.
Hey voters, join me, Kirk Cameron, on Saturday, September 24th with We Believe, We Vote at the Spokane Convention Center for a night of celebrating biblical citizenship.
Join We Believe We Vote for our annual fundraiser on Saturday, September 24th, 2022 with Kirk Cameron. For tickets and event information, please visit WeBelieveWeVote.com. That's WeBelieveWeVote.com. We'll see you there.
Weather in the inland Northwest can wear you down. And if your gutters are in poor condition or you do not have gutters, you could suffer damage that could cost a fortune to fix. Rainman Seamless Rain Gutters has almost 30 years of professional experience in serving the inland Northwest region and strives to ensure customer service that is second to none from the time you call to the end of the project.